In honor of The Life of Showgirl coming out at the end of this week, which I can't believe that it's already here, I decided to read only books that had a title that was a Taylor Swift song title. Also, the question of the video is, what is your top favorite Taylor Swift song? Mine is probably Champagne Problems. I did my best to choose books that were in different genres. However, I do think that the majority of books that end up having these types of titles are actually romance books. I do think that there are a lot of thrillers as well, specifically songs from Reputation. I will link below, if I can find it, the Goodreads list of books that are titled same as Taylor Swift titles, which is also what I went through to get part of my inspiration for my book choices. So without further ado, come along with me as I read these books. The first book that I will be reading, I'm actually going to be listening to. I'm about to go on a long drive and I'm going to start listening to the book Betty. Okay, update. Corinne and I are actually, I don't know if I've said in this video at all, but we are here in Orlando for the What We Said podcast tour. It's a podcast we've been listening to for a long time. On the drive over to Corinne's, I started listening to Betty. I showed you guys. I did not know what I was getting myself into with that. I should have kind of known from the reviews that I was reading that the book is pretty violent. The book is set in like, I don't even know, I didn't really pay attention to what the time era is, but it's historical fiction. It's about this character and she starts out the story by talking about her parents and how they met, and they kind of had like, they weren't like in a relationship or anything. They got pregnant with her, but it's like far in the past, so it's like not a great response. It was, yeah, pretty harsh, pretty crazy. I fear this book is going to potentially traumatize me, but I'm not gonna be listening to more of that right now because that's just gonna be my, obviously, audiobook. I also didn't mention that I have the audiobook for one book and then I have a physical book and a Kindle book for this video. So the physical book that I'm reading, I started reading yesterday, and it is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bodum Young. I wanted to read Out on a Limb first because this is book 2 in that little interconnected standalone series, but I figured that because I'm doing this video, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this one. Also, before I read this, I heard the plot, and basically this one is about a married couple who is trying to reconnect. They got married super young. I think they were like 19. So they are like reconnecting on a trip. They're going like into the wilderness together and doing this whole reconnection whatever thing. I've only gotten like 17 pages in, so I don't know quite yet, but I also was having a hard time getting past one thing with this book, and that is that the two main characters are named Sarah and Caleb, and they are married, and I have siblings named Sarah and Caleb, so that was a little bit hard for me to get past, but I think it's gonna be really cute. So I'm gonna take this, we're gonna go down to the pool and spend some time out there, and I'll be reading this book. I am in the bathroom because I just got ready for the show that we're going to, which is going to be on a completely different vlog if you guys want to check that out. I don't know if it's coming out before or after this. Actually, no, I do know. It's coming out before this, so you can check on my channel for that. But at the pool, we did read a little bit, not a lot, honestly, but I'm really actually quite enjoying Out of the Woods. I think for me, it's really interesting to read as somebody who was also married young. Like, I got married at 21, so I feel like it's going to be very, very interesting for me. But again, I'm not very far into it. I'm like 30-ish pages in. There was a lot going on at the pool earlier, so I don't know. I'm really enjoying this book. Betty, like I said, not so much, but we'll see how that one goes. I think it's gonna be crazy. But I am not gonna be reading for the next few hours because we are going to our show, and we're also leaving tomorrow. We're going home. So I'm not sure exactly how much more reading I'll get done on this trip, but that's the update for now. got a reading update. As you saw, I read in the airport and then also on the plane. And this morning I had to drive home, and I live pretty far away, over 2 hours away from Corinne. So I was driving home, and the entire drive I just kept thinking about the book and wanting to read it. I am loving Out of the Woods so much, and I cannot believe that I almost didn't read it because of the names of the characters. Like, I really wasn't going to, and just because I'm doing this video I was like, no, I'm gonna buy it and go ahead and read it. Like, but yeah, I'm having such a good time. I actually had to stop on the plane. I wasn't reading it the whole time because I had to like keep stopping because I was literally crying. The book was making me cry. And the closest thing that I can compare my experience with this book would be my experience with Happy Place, which was my favorite book last year. Since I've updated you guys, and a couple of significant things have happened as it pertains to this video. Number one, the book Betty, I DNF'd it at 10% because I just couldn't, for one, all the stuff I mentioned before, like there's things in it that were violent, some slightly disturbing things that I just didn't want to read, and then it also is just a very long book, and I found myself dreading the idea of listening to it, so I decided to just not read it. And I feel really good about that decision because I wasn't vibing with it at all. But the next thing is that I did finish Out of the Woods, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. It's not quite a 5 stars. There was a couple things that bothered me near the end of the book. I feel like the final, like the third act problem was just kind of convenient for the story, and I like it was fine. It wasn't horrible or anything, but I do just really love seeing these characters, and I really appreciated that they were married, and it was a story of them like falling back in love. Not that they ever were not in love, it just, I don't know, I just really loved it. I think it was very good. But I will say there are some spice scenes, so if that is something that you want to know, you're careful of, just know that this has about two spice scenes. Actually so glad that I was doing this video because otherwise I wouldn't have read that book, and I loved it. Today I have started our third book, which is technically not a Taylor Swift title. I know, the point of this was for me to do Taylor Swift titles, but I have the book Say You'll Remember Me that I had pre-ordered before it came out, but I just never read it because I heard so many people who just didn't really enjoy it. They had like things about it that they didn't like, so I just never got around to it. But I know it's not an actual title, but Say You'll Remember Me from Wildest Dreams is just like an iconic line, so I decided to make it count. But in this story, basically we were following our two main characters, Samantha and Xavier. Xavier's a vet, and Samantha, her job is funny. I'm not even gonna say what it is on here because I think it's fun to learn if you're reading the book. But the things that people complained about, I understand why they did. Let's just say this book is very quirky. Okay, I think that's true of a lot of Abbie Jimenez books, but this one I think just took it to a new level. So far, I actually am really enjoying the plot that's happening. I like what is actually happening in the story. It is also very sad. The main character's mom has dementia. You learn this pretty quickly in the story. But yeah, I've been reading just today. I just started it. I have it on my Kindle, right? And I've been reading it without it showing me my progress or anything. So let's see what the progress is. Dang. Okay. I'm already 25% through the book. It's actually like really easy to binge, I will say. So I'm gonna continue reading. We'll see how that goes, and I need to finish this book like by tomorrow because of just the timeline of when I want to get this video out. So wish me luck on that. I've been having a hard time with reading lately. Things are just taking me a lot longer than I would like, but I do think reading on my Kindle helps me read faster, and this one is just very easy for me to read. Okay, so I'm at the 70% mark of this book, and I just have to say, I don't understand why this book has gotten the hate that it's gotten. I feel like I didn't see any good reviews, but I love these characters. I love our male main character, and I love our female main character so much. Like, I like wish I knew them in real life. Like, it's to that point. I'm like, I am just so entertained by them. They're so funny, and she is so funny, specifically. He's more like moody. He's not like the funny guy, but she she cracks me up, specifically in her job, which I'm still not going to talk about because, like, if you're going to read it, I think it's fun to learn about as you're reading. But I do understand, the part that I do understand people getting annoyed by is just the cringe factor of certain parts of the book. I'm loving the story. It's seeming like kind of impossible though. Like, how is this going to work out? If you've read the book, you know. How is it going to work out for them? I don't know. Does this setting look familiar? Yeah, I did just film the intro for this video, but last night I finished Say You'll Remember Me, and I actually really liked it. I don't understand why it got as much hate as it did. I feel like I saw a lot of bad reviews of this book. I think people coming off of the high of Just for the Summer last year, maybe it didn't quite compare to that. Although I will say, I think it had a very similar feeling to Just for the Summer, but I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. The reason I knocked some of those off were, for one of the complaints that a lot of people had about this book was that it had a lot of modern references, and I think there was a couple of times that pulled me out of the book. Two, this book was really sad, okay? This was not your typical cutesy little rom-com, okay? This one was very sad, not because the relationship had issues, but because the life circumstances were very emotional. And I will say, if you're not in the mood for that, like, this made me, like, it actually made me feel quite sad throughout it. There was a certain point where I was nearing the end of the book and I was very overwhelmed by the feelings it was giving me. I set it to the side and left the room, and then came back again to finish the book just because it made me very emotional. Now, there's those complaints. There is also one more thing that I really didn't like, and that was the behavior of our female main character Samantha's father. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I think that his children, some of them, had the correct opinion that he was doing the wrong thing. Okay, I don't agree with anything that he was doing. I think overall it was really good. I literally read it in 2 days. I have not done that in a long time. So yeah, final verdict. We had one book that I DNF'd. Sorry, Betty. Maybe someday I'll come back to it. Maybe if anybody else has read it and I see reviews about it that are positive, perhaps I'll go back to it. But yeah, one DNF. Then we had a 4.5 star and a 4.25 star. So I feel like this was a pretty good success. Like I said in the intro, I wanted to get books that were not just in the romance genre, but it ended up being to where 2 of the books were in the romance genre, just because I do think that those books tend to have more of the same, not even because they're copying Taylor Swift necessarily, but just because maybe people are more drawn to that type of verbiage. I'm really excited for Showgirl to come out in a few days. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and that you have the best time listening to the new album when it comes out. Okay, that's all from me. Bye.